So while I was browsing YouTube, I was looking for a video to watch, and I ended up stumbling across this YouTuber named Ruin Leon. Now, I watch Ruin Leon fairly often, especially when I'm trying to find something to listen to while I work or while I, work, play the game or whatnot. And he made this video on the lines of entitled streamers think YouTube is harder than 9 to 5, or something on the lines of that. And while I was watching the video, I just thought to myself, I have to give my opinion on this. And before we begin, I would like to say my name is Leon and I hate Quincy. So if you ever see a Quincy, go up to him and say, hey, I hate you because we don't like Quincy's. Anyways, let's begin.
I don't know what it is about that video I made a couple days ago about that scrawny white guy who gave every excuse under the sun as to why you need to give him money because content creation is all he has. But I have peered into the abyss of stupid excuses or sayings brought up by content creators who live in this bubble of thinking they deserve every eye on them because they're creating content that matters to the world, or they feel as though they deserve it. And I'm certain you've heard the stupid statement before, and you're gonna hear it from me, that streaming is way harder than a 9 to 5. Content creation is way harder than a 9 to 5.
So let's go ahead and stop you right there, Ruin Leon. I definitely agree that this is a stupid statement. Streaming, I don't really think, or I don't think personally, is harder than a 9 to 5. Now, I do think you need to have the necessary skills to stream and the fan base to stream. But a lot of people nowadays are just getting popular from just doing the bare minimum. Honestly, when it comes to streaming, some people will go on YouTube and swing their meat around and then get like 100 viewers actively. And after a while, they will just stay like that and just progressively grow. I really don't think streaming is harder than a 9 to 5, but at the same time, there's more I have to say about this, so let's just wait on it.
A real job can be gruesome, a real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you, you know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
Yeah, that's goofy. I'm not gonna lie to you, that's goofy. You don't have to stream for 9 hours, not even, I don't think Ninja even streams for 9 hours, probably 4 to 5, maybe 6. But 9 hours is absolutely insane. Why are you streaming for 9 hours? I mean, don't you think it's a little bit absurd for a job? Like for a 9 to 5, you really work that long on a 9 to 5 because you have to. It's your job. But for streaming, you pick the hours you want to stream. Hassan, I'm pretty sure, is like one of the only streamers or one of the goofy streamers that stream for that long. Like, that's crazy. 9 hours, a whole quarter of your day is taken away because you want to stream for 9 hours. No one is telling you to do that.
Absolutely will.
You can't have an opinion on that unless you actually worked a real job and you actually stream. If you didn't do both, you can't have an opinion, bro. That's just the truth. When I worked, dude, chat, I used to work one of the hardest jobs on planet Earth, bro. I was working hard, bro. Like, it took a lot of mind power and brain power and a lot of time, bro. Like, it was a really, really difficult job, bro. I had to do a lot of shit. And streaming is still harder, bro. If you go to work, once 5 p.m. hits, you don't have to think about that shit at all. You could go home, off for 20 hours before you clock back in, and you're good, bro. People confuse hating your job with it being hard, bro. Just because you hate your job doesn't mean your job is hard. You get what I'm saying? Having to constantly see a million times a day people talking about you, people saying shit, people doing this, people doing that. You don't have to deal with that with a normal fucking job. You don't. On God, you don't. Like, if
now look, honestly, I might be Coomer brained, but I don't know. I was picking up most of what that guy was saying, but I don't know. He's basically right, but I kind of disagree. With streaming, you can be someone like Pokimane and sit with your fucking I don't know, hand on in a literal a cup for 3 hours and get like $1,000, $2,000. You know, it just depends on what you're doing. Or you can be like people like the Bones 5, and you have to actually have skill or be doing something for people to actually watch and donate to you. You know, it just depends on what it is. And that's the same thing for 9 to 5, because it depends on 9 to 5 too. But you know, we'll talk about that later.
If fucking Kevin Hart said making movies is harder than a 9 to 5, nobody would give a fuck. But when a streamer says it, it's the biggest deal in the world, bro.
And as somebody who's done both for about, I'd say 5, maybe 6 years now, I'm here to tell you a 9 to 5 is always gonna be more difficult than sitting in front of a camera, sitting in front of a microphone, and talking and engaging. And you know what? There was a
My main point about this before you even get started was, so did the other guy. The other guy also said that he did both. And you can't have an opinion unless you did both, which he did have an opinion and he did both. But it doesn't matter about how many years or whatnot you worked that 9 to 5. If you worked the 9 to 5, you worked the 9 to 5. Now, personally, I never worked a 9 to 5, and this might completely discourage my whatever. But I can still have an opinion on it because I know what working is. I used to work for my dad for at least 5 hours, which wasn't a 9 to 5, but you know, I still worked for him. And because I did things like sports and worked out, you know, even though the job was physically draining, it didn't really drain me. You know, I feel like that's only what a 9 to 5 is when you work on cars or something like that. It's just physically draining. But after my 5 hours was up, I just went home and played the game. It wasn't really nothing I had to think about. I didn't have to do anything else. But he's talking about content creation as a whole, or the point that he made was working a 9 to 5 is harder than just sitting in front of a camera and engaging, which really?
Point in time where I could look at that statement and actually think and say, maybe there's a point there. But then, as soon as I thought that, this hand right here would get very close to my face, and then it would just smack me right in the face for saying or even thinking that there's any credence to those statements. You are in a privileged position. Matter of fact, let me specify this so that there's no stupid person thinking that they're being personally attacked.
As we can already see, he's not trying to reason or give this thought any thought. You know, he's not trying to give this argument any thought. He's just saying, I don't care, a 9 to 5 is harder. Now, obviously, he's not saying that. He said that's words for Leon, you know what I'm saying? Don't come after me for this. But that's what he's trying to say. He's basically saying when he thinks about the 9 to 5 being harder than, not 9 to 5, a streaming job or YouTube being harder than a 9 to 5, his hand gets ready to smack him on how stupid it is. Let's hear some more, please.
If you are somebody who's completely said, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to solely make content creation, streaming, videos, my job. I'm bringing you to the table. If you have ever thought to yourself that this is more difficult than a 9 to 5, look me in my withering eyes. You are fucking stupid to a biblical degree.
All right, well, thanks, Leon, for calling me stupid on a biblical degree. So let me absolutely shit on your argument. So other than the content you make, Ruin Leon, or better yet, the content that I'm going to try to make, this just talking in a microphone and editing some of these parts out, there are YouTubers out here who put in real fucking work for the shit they're doing. And I don't just mean real work. I mean work that takes days and days on end to complete for one video. Okay, and here's some minor examples. Nexpo. Nexpo has to go into the deep dark web for some of most of his videos. He has to do research for days on end to find his videos. Then he has to edit them on hours and hours on end. And these videos usually be 40 minutes to 30 minutes long. These are some long ass videos that he has to sit down and edit constantly over and over and over again, then give over his voiceover. But you're saying in general, like all of YouTube, anyone who works on YouTube has it easier than anyone working on a 9 to 5, which I don't agree. In New York, you can go and work at a flower shop and all you're doing is watering flowers and taking notes of the flowers. Do you think that that's harder than working on a video that takes 50 minutes long that you have to edit for hours and hours and days on end? And so And then the worst part about this argument is, and here's why I think it's so fucking dog shit. He brings up surgeons and doctors. That's not a fucking fair. That's not a fair comparison. That's a cheap way to win. That's a cheap way for your argument. I can say the same thing for working at McDonald's. Do you think Nexpo? You think the job Nexpo has, when you spend hours and hours of researching, is easier than a 9 to 5? Yeah, it's stupid, and I hope you don't think that that's easier. And the way he scales his argument, it's just so goofy because he only scales it off of what? Off of him, which, like I said, I can do this. I'm doing this right now, and this barely takes any time. Like, I'm just looking at exactly what he said. I looked at this video, his video, and I said, I can give my opinion on that, and was like, let me record that. This video is barely taking enough time, but if I was going to be like any other YouTuber and spent actual time on this video, this would be harder than a 9 to 5 because there's so many other things that he's just not taking in account for. Like, it's just so unfair and just a bad way to argue.
Your job of sitting in a chair and entertaining 1, 10, 100, 2,000 people will never be as difficult as being a police officer, being a firefighter, being a nurse, being a surgeon, being a doctor, being a warehouse worker. There is infinitely more stress.
Yeah, do you see what I'm saying? This argument is just so cheap because those are people who are saving lives. Yeah, of course that doesn't really amount to what I'm doing or making content for people. Doesn't really amount to anything, I guess, but I'm not saving lives. That's so cheap. Such a cheap way to compare. What about people who are actually out here doing the bare minimum? And plus, a warehouse worker is doing nothing but lifting boxes. And like I already said, there's just so much that goes into YouTube that it's not just clicking the record button, talking for a few minutes, and uploading that to YouTube. Like, it, and the way you can easily tell, the way he's trying to just, compare these two are just so stupid. Like, I don't think he has ever worked a doctor's job. I don't think he ever worked as a firefighter or a police officer. He probably worked a 9 to 5 or an office job and is trying to put them on the same wavelength. Like, they're not. And I just don't see it. I don't see why he's making the comparison to like the hardest jobs in the world compared to just YouTube, when YouTube is not compared to the jobs that are saving lives. Like, I just don't get it. Let's hear the rest of this video.
There's infinitely more stress in making fast food than doing fucking content creation.
Yeah, this is just fucking wrong. Fast fucking food. Are you serious? Fast food. Oh my goodness, he's talking, bro. I can't.
And this stupid ass narcissism comes from a bunch of people who are living a little bit of a lavish life, who want to demean the hard work of a bunch of people who are actually putting forth effort, as in they're actually putting their bodies in predicaments that you're not going to put yourself in because, oh, I just can't do it and I'm so lazy.
No, they're saying this is harder than working at a fast food job or working a 9 to 5 because they probably worked a 9 to 5. This is just such a stupid argument to argue simply because you're comparing them to police officers, firefighters. Like, that's just so stupid. And it's not. You're saying the same thing about him. They're saying the same thing, like literally the same argument can go to you. People who actually put forth like time and effort into their content, they know it takes a long time. Probably, but for you can tell you don't. I haven't counted a single edit other than like the video clipping off to someone else in this video because he doesn't put effort into it. That's just what I'm saying. I just don't get his argument because it sucks so much.
Oh, I just can't do it and I'm so lazy. I worked at a warehouse for 3 years. I worked an office job for about 1.5 years. I currently have a job none of you know about, and you will never know because I must keep my life such a great mystery so that you all jerk it to me at night.
Yeah, not to be that weird guy. And again, Leon, I watch your content fairly often. I don't think no one wants to jerk to you at night, and to be honest, I don't think I really care about your real job. Like, not to be that guy, but I don't really care, bro. I just don't really care. Why is this in this video? I don't really care.
This is great. I'm not gonna lie, not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm thankful for the opportunities this content creation has given me, but I mean this in the nicest way possible. This is easy. All I'm doing is looking for things to talk about and saying, I actually could have an opinion about this. And I spend about 5 to 8 to maybe 15 on a good day when I'm feeling nice and hard talking about how stupid it is. It is not pencil pushing. It's not.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? He just proved my argument. He's doing nothing. He's doing nothing. He's doing nothing. He spends 15 minutes on a good, hard day when he's feeling good and hard on 15 minutes on a video when even me, like me, recording this video has been 20 minutes long and I have to go back and edit this video and then I have to make the thumbnail for this video. I'm spending at least 2 to 3 hours on this video and I'm doing exactly what he's doing just with extra steps, and he's talking about how content creation as a whole, because of what he's doing, is easy because he's doing it, and it's easy because he's doing it the easy way. Yeah, I just can't. I literally just can't. Honestly, when I first watched this video, I just wasn't this upset about it until I gave it a rewatch and realized this is something someone really said after doing the bare minimum on YouTube. And they're saying because you can get away with the bare minimum on YouTube, doing the bare minimum on YouTube is the easiest job in the world, or YouTube as a whole is the easy job in the world because I'm doing the bare minimum, and because I'm doing the bare minimum, yeah, it just fucking sucks. I can't. Anyways, I've spent way too much time on this. This video's about 20 minutes long, you know, hopefully it's not. And this is about my first video, or around one of my first videos. So, you know, if you do enjoy this video, please like, bro, because goddamn, like I just can't talk about this video more. I mean, I'm not gonna spend my time wasting on this guy. Just like how he can't spend more than 15 minutes when he's nice and soft on a video that literally all he does is just talk. Like, I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. Anyways, that's about it. Like I said earlier, my name is Leon. Put more effort into your videos and maybe your argument will be sound.